Welcome to Studio V. This is the first of many videos by Star Jobs Help to assist people who have been retrenched or are in the risk of losing their jobs in the current global economic crisis. Today we're going to talk about psychological behaviors of people who have been retrenched and also tips to update your interview and your resume skills. With us today is Mr. Robert Lim, the Country Manager of Right Management, and Mr. SK, also consultant for Right Management. Right Management is a company that specializes in talent management and career management. So, Mr. Robert and Mr. SK, maybe we can start off by talking a little bit about what your company does.
Okay. All right, Debbie, thanks for having us here. It's really a pleasure to be here. Right Management, we are the, as you correctly said, talent and career management experts within Manpower, a global leader in employment services. What we do is we design and execute workforce solutions that help to align their talent strategy with the organization strategy. So basically what we do is talking about talent assessment, organizational effectiveness, leadership development, and also talent transition. So these are the variety of services that we work with our clients on. We have been around for the last 30 years, specifically in Malaysia in the last 10 years or so. Right, and we've been working with most of the Fortune 500 companies here, and we have right now seven coaches within our organization set up here in Malaysia to help our clients with their employees who have to go through a job transition. And most of these transitions are external. Right? So that's basically what we do here, worldwide and also in Malaysia.
Okay, so obviously working with a lot of talents or candidates, as you put it, that is going through retrenchment or a job loss.
Right.
What are kind of negative feelings or emotions that you usually get from them?
Okay, I think that the thing here to clarify is that your feelings are normal. You can't help the way you feel. So I do have a mixed bag of responses from people who feel very betrayed by their employers or their ex-employers, to those that come in with a sense of relief, in a sense that this is the break that they've been looking for. So it's really an opportune time. So there isn't really a trend or what we call particular emotions or behaviors that we see. So we do get a mixed bag of responses in that sense. Yeah.
Okay, so but you would say these are very normal feelings for people?
Absolutely, because you can't help the way you feel, all right? So you can't control your emotions, so to say.
Yep. Yeah. So, and for this, and as an advice to people who have just recently lost their job, how do you advise them to get back on track to looking for a new job?
I think getting back on track the first thing that one needs to do is to come to terms with their situation. I think the fact is that it is a business decision. And in one of the earlier interviews, Dato Sheikh Yahya did talk about the availability of jobs in the market. It's not that there isn't any job. Right? So the challenge here is come to terms with it, take stock of where you are right now in terms of your career. I remember some 15 years ago, I did a stock take in my career, whereby I transited from one industry to another, partly because that industry was going through a tough cycle. And I asked myself a very hard question. Is this then the right time for me to step forward, take a bold step into another industry? And this is where I am right now, moving from manufacturing into consultancy and services. So take stock of where you are, all right, understand the economy or the industry, where they are at this point in time, and make a decision. In the past, we always talk about lifelong employment. I think today, as individuals out there, we need to think of lifelong employability, being nimble, being adaptable to what the economy has to offer, rather than the economy adjusts to us as individuals. Right?
Okay. So I think one thing that's very common for a lot of us is that the last time we attended a job interview would be a really long time ago. So maybe Mr. SK, would you like to tell us about what should we expect now when we go for an interview at this point of time?
That's a good question, Debbie. I think there's a lot of things going on in people's mind. I suppose the basic rules of attending interviews still applies. That means you got to look good, you got to groom yourself well, you got to speak well, you got to be on time. The basic stuff that you'll find in a book, for example. But for those, let's say, who have been retrenched or been asked to leave an organization, there are some additional things that they got to keep in mind. Number one, we would advise that don't look so desperate when you're sitting in front of an interviewer, right? Because nobody wants to employ you just because you desperately need the job. That's number one. Number two is you got to also be able to show that you're adaptable to the new company. I have a client who has been with this multinational for the last 15 years. He has been performing well, he's in sales, and the entire interview was actually around his ability to adapt to this new organization. So the key thing is here, you may come with years of experience, you may come with years of expertise, but you've got to also show that you're adaptable to the new culture. So that's number two. Number three, we advise our candidates, our clients, we tell them that, look, if you think that you deserve a package, state that that's the package that you want. Don't allow people to take you in on the cheap because you're looking for a job. So if you seriously think that that's the package that you deserve, ask for the package. So apart from the usual interview skills that many people know, these are the three things that people have to keep in mind now, especially. Yeah.
And I think there's the tricky question of going to an interview.
Right.
You know, when your employer asks you why were you retrenched or why were you among the first chosen to be retrenched, how do you go about answering that question?
Well, it's a very common question, and many people find it actually quite cumbersome to answer that, but it's a standard answer. It's an organizational decision. It's very simple as that. And most of our candidates are from multinationals, and it's not only Malaysia where they're affected. There are colleagues in Singapore, in China, in India, in Europe. They're all affected. So the standard answer is, which is true, is an organizational decision. And here I am, so I'm looking for a new opportunity, and this is who I am. So that's how they move forward. Yeah.
Okay. And also, I think a lot of our resumes are pretty outdated. I think we all lack the skills of putting in what is needed and what is not needed. So what is your advice on this to update the resume?
Okay, you want to start there?
Well, agreed. Many of us, we have worked for 15 years. The last resume was 15 years old, all right? And we would have forgotten all those little achievements that we had in our workplace. So what our coaches usually do with candidates, our clients, is that one of the first 2 meetings or 3 meetings, in fact, we get them to just brainstorm, reflect back on their achievements in their various jobs or in one job, for example. So once those achievements are listed, they are then translated or transferred into a resume. Now, there are many formats for an effective resume. Say, for example, you have had only one job or 2 jobs over the last 15 years. Then we say use a functional format. So functional format means as a supervisor, he might have had a couple of job responsibilities, or he might have been a manager for the last 15 years. So just focus on his job as a manager. But if you're a job hopper, for example, you may have had, say, 6 jobs in the last 15 years. Then use a chronological format, meaning the latest, from the latest to the, to the oldest. Then, of course, the presentation of the resume is important. But let's be honest, if I'm a HR hiring manager, for example, in today's busy world, and if I see your resume, which is 3 to 4 pages long, I really don't want to know whether you're married, whether you have 3 kids, or whether you have 2 wives. I don't want to see on the first page.
Yeah.
Leave all that to the back. I want to see on the first page, what can you do for me? What skills do you bring, What are your experiences? And I want to know in, less than 30 seconds, whether I should bother calling you or not. Yeah. So these are some of the things that we actually try to tell, especially Malaysians. Don't be so tied up with the old format of putting the picture, putting religion and nationality. All those things can come to the back. Apart from that, if you're using, say, online services, then how online services work is they go by keywords. So if you are looking for a regional financial position, then the term regional financial position or whatever must be somewhere in your resume, because that's how the engines search those words. Right. So if you're looking for a financial position and the word finance don't appear, for example, obviously you will not get a job. Robert, you like?
Yeah. From my experience, the key word is enthusiasm. From the job applicant, right, you must position yourself that you are enthusiastic about the opening to create enthusiasm from the part of the hiring manager. Now remember, the hiring manager don't just look at your CV. He's got loads to filter through. So he's going to pick out one that really appeals to him or her. that enthusiasm, that creates enthusiasm to want them to get in touch with you. So in short, what we want to do is highlight our achievements, right? Not what we do. Most of the resumes that I've received is about what they are doing, very mundane.
Yep.
But what we're looking for would be achievements. What were the highlights of your career in this particular company? Right, remember, the key thing about a resume is to get you the interview. Now, I've seen over-enthusiastic openings in resume, like, you're looking for regional consultant, look no more because I'm the best. Right now, this will definitely be a turn-off for a lot of the hiring managers that we encounter. Right? So be enthusiastic to generate the enthusiasm from your potential employers.
Okay, so I think that's been a very interesting chat, and I hope you guys have picked up quite a bit of tips. Do stay tuned to Star Jobs Online because we will be bringing you more videos to help get your career back on track. This is Debbie Chan signing off for the Star Malaysia.